The Ant-Man movies just wouldn't be the same if someone other than Paul Rudd was playing Scott Lang. Paul Rudd lives a pretty entertaining lifestyle, and we're not just saying that because he's an actor. In this video, we'll let you know about Paul Rudd's interesting life behind the scenes. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, let's look at the crazy life of Paul Rudd.
Anything happens to my daughter, I got a 45 and a shovel. I doubt anybody would miss you.
Family background. Paul Rudd was born in Passaic, New Jersey. His dad, Michael Rudd, was a historical tour guide and former vice president of Trans World Airlines. His mom, Gloria Irene, was a sales manager at a TV station in Kansas City. Both of his parents were born in England and of Jewish descent. Growing up, he loved reading British comic books like The Beano and The Dandy, which worked out well because now he stars in comic book movies. When he was 10, he moved to Kansas. There, he attended the University of Kansas, where he majored in theater. He jumped around acting schools and worked as a bar mitzvah disc jockey to make rent.
The last person in the world I'd want to hurt is you.
Big acting break. Paul Rudd made his first acting debut in the TV drama Sisters, where he played Kirby Quimby Philby. After that, he had a recurring role in the 1994 show Wild Oats, but left the show to appear in Clueless. You may remember him as Cher's ex-stepbrother. Other films he was in at the start of his career include Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, The Locusts, Overnight Delivery, The Object of My Affection, and 200 Cigarettes. He was also in the 1999 film The Cider House Rules that earned him and the cast a SAG nomination for outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture. Way in these early days, he was billed under his full name, Paul Stephen Rudd, due to the fact that there was already a Paul Rudd in the Screen Actors Guild.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Big leading roles. He started to play supporting roles on major sitcoms like Mike Harrington, Phoebe's boyfriend and eventual husband in Friends. And of course, we can't forget his role as the drug lord Jericho in Reno 911 Miami. He got cast in bigger movie roles such as Anchorman as Brian Fantana, alongside fellow comedian and friend Steve Carell, who he worked with again in Judd Apatow's 40-Year-Old Virgin. He went on to play a major role in I Love You Man, where he plays a rush-loving guy looking for a new best friend in Peter Clavin. He had a cameo in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story as John Lennon, and then played the drug-addicted surfer bro in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He also starred in and co-produced the film Wanderlust with Apatow, and brought back his and Leslie Mann's characters from Knocked Up in the spin-off This Is 40. And we can't forget about his roles in Wet Hot American Summer, the film and the follow-up Netflix TV shows as his bad boy role, Andy. Another favorite is Bobby Newport, Leslie Knope's dim-witted and entitled opponent in her city council election in NBC's Parks and Recreation.
Things are about to get wild.
Personal life. Rudd married his longtime sweetheart, Julie Yeager. They have two sons together, Jack, born in 2006, and Darby, born in 2010. He got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2015, to which he remarked, "I remember being a kid and walking this boulevard and reading the names and thinking about what so many other millions of people thought about, which is, who's that?" Hilarious as usual. He's also a huge supporter of the Stuttering Association for the Young. Rudd told Vanity Fair that he became an advocate for stuttering awareness after portraying a character who stutters in a play. He's a self-described mega fan of the television series Lost, and even volunteered to interview cast member Emily DeRavin, whom he has never met, for Interview magazine, just because of his love for the series. It's crazy to think that even actors fangirl over other actors.
¿Cómo se llama? No, Kelly Clarkson!
Hilarious facts. Unsurprisingly, Rudd is a great improviser. You may recall that hilarious call-out during the 40-Year-Old Virgin when Steve Carell is actually getting his chest waxed and he yells out, "Kelly Clarkson!" Well, that was all Paul Rudd's idea. He also improvised the "You Know How I Know You're Gay" sequence in the 40-Year-Old Virgin with Seth Rogen. Paul Rudd is notorious for his running gags on talk shows, especially during his appearances on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. He's been pulling the same prank for the last 15 years. Rudd often brought a clip from the film Mac and Me when wheelchair user Eric flies off of a cliff while Mac watches on, instead of showing clips from the actual movie he's there to promote. But he was prevented from doing that by Judd Apatow, who showed up specifically to make sure Rudd wouldn't run this gag during promotion of Knocked Up on Conan's show. Coincidentally, he's played a character named George 3 times. The Object of My Affection in 1998, How Do You Know in 2010, and Wanderlust in 2012. The first and third movie saw him play opposite old Friends co-star Jennifer Aniston. In Knocked Up, his character makes a reference to seeing Spider-Man 3 at the movies. 9 years later, he would play Ant-Man in Captain America Civil War, where he literally fights Spider-Man.
Wow, it's really smoky in there.
Yeah, he got up in there.
His love of Steve Martin. He loves everything Mel Brooks and Steve Martin, so much so that he even collects anything related to Steve Martin. Thanks to his love of the comedian, he was actually able to meet director Judd Apatow, who Rudd would go on to appear in tons of films for. Rudd loves the funny name Steve Martin comes up with, and remarked at a dinner party that he liked the faux name Gurn Blanston. Someone mentioned that Judd Apatow had an email using that name. Rudd never met Judd Apatow at the time, but sent him an email because of their shared interest in the name Gurn Blanston, thus sealing their film fate. Steve Martin even sent Rudd a copy of his memoir Born Standing Up and signed it Gurn. Paul Rudd said it was one of the greatest things I've ever gotten in my life.
Nothing against him, but if I hear Yamo be there one more time, I'm going to Yamo burn this place to the ground.
He was mugged. Rudd and a friend went to dinner at Jerry's Deli in the Valley when a guy grabbed him. "This is a real gun," he threatened Rudd. "Watch out because I'll f***ing kill you." Despite the fact that Rudd assured him that he thought he was telling the truth, the guy didn't believe him. "You don't think it's a real gun," the guy said, and fired the gun at Rudd. The bullet went through Rudd's hair. Rudd didn't have any cash, but he gave him his backpack. "I just remember the sound of it," he says, recalling the bullet. "I remember people in the parking lot being really freaked out, but I just got very calm. Then I had to go to work the next day. It was a scene at a club. I was dancing, and I had just been shot at the night before."
Does anyone have any orange slices?
What did we leave out about Paul Rudd's exciting life? What's your favorite movie of his? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to CBR to stay up to date with all of our awesome videos. Thanks for watching.